Hi everybody, I'm Richard DeBanks, the owner of Athletic Alliance Sports Supplements, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take everybody through a weekly series on building towards a powerlifting competition. Just how I structure the training, set goals, all that sort of thing. Now, before I get any further, let me set the record straight and tell you what I'm not. I'm not a world champion. I'm not a world record holder. I do not have a 1,000-pound bench or a 1,000-pound squat. I know the first thing that will always come out is, well, I know this guy, he did this at this gym, etc. A lot of those things you have to take with a grain of salt, and a lot of people lifting use things like bench shirts, which help you bench, squat suits, which help you squat. So where I fit into all that is I am what's called a raw or a classic lifter. That means just a belt and a singlet, no other assistance from any kind of suits or equipment. And I'm not a world champion, as I said, or a world record holder. I am a provincial champion and a provincial record holder and a national silver medalist. And really, I think the way that this is most applicable to people is I'm just a guy that started off with numbers that weren't that great, and in the last year I've been able to put probably about 250 to close to 300 pounds on my powerlifting total. And the reason I've been able to do that, despite being 43 years old and not having done a lot of powerlifting training before, is that I've taken a very business-like approach to training and structuring and putting everything together. In other words, I like to try and be as efficient as possible, cut out any kind of wasted movement, stick to what works, constantly reassess and retool. So, the first thing that I like to do when I put together a powerlifting program is a self-assessment. Now, I just came off about a week ago the provincial championships, which went fairly well. I hit a personal best in the squat, missed a personal best in the bench press, and tied a personal best in the deadlift. So this is a good time to do a self-assessment, either when you've just finished something that's tested all your maxes or when you've got something coming up, and in my case I have both. So with a self-assessment, we want to do two things. We want to establish what our goals are for next time around, and we want to identify our weak points so we know what we have to work on. So goals. I'm training for the Commonwealth Powerlifting Championship in December 8th. So that's what I'm going to be working towards. Weight category. Right now I lift under IPF, which is the International Powerlifting Federation, and I'm in the 120 kilogram plus category. And I've had to face the cold hard truth that I think I'm carrying too much body fat, and that right now I'm just under 6'2", and I'm about 295 pounds, which is about 133 kilos, give or take. What I would like to do on my next competition is I would like to drop down to the 120 kilo class. Finally, my goal specifically for my lifts, I would like to hit a 250 kg squat, 182.5 kg bench, and 272.5 or 600 pound deadlift. This would represent a gain of about a little over 10% from where I am now. So I think it's definitely attainable. And as your numbers get higher, the the gains do start to come a little more slowly. So you really have to focus in on what you're doing. Weak points. Okay. Well, number one, I think the biggest challenge on this is going to be dropping to a weight class without losing a lot of strength. So dieting. I've not done a lot of dieting. And let's face it, you don't get to be 295 pounds from pushing yourself away from the table, right? So that's under the weakness column. Two, with specific reference to the lifts themselves. My bench press routine. Has been poor. I totaled 165 kilos at the last competition, which was the same as the Canadian Nationals, which were 2 months before. So in that 2-month period, I didn't make any progress on my bench. So in that situation, you have to examine what you're doing and you have to change something. And the third weakness is schedule. I have until December 8th for this competition, so that's quite a long time to prepare for one competition. So that's going to allow me to get in maybe 3 or 4 microcycles. But I run a business, and when you run a business, there's a lot of irregularity. You have to travel a lot of times. You're not always close to a gym, or the only gym is something that's not really equipped for powerlifting. So schedule is something that affects both the lifting, the training, and the dieting. So those are my goals, those are my weaknesses. That creates our starting point. So from here on out, it's just going to be a matter of laying out the routine, laying out the diet, putting in the right accessory exercises to address things like bench press. Also, another weak point I think we should add is my last deadlift. I failed at 260 because I hitched at the top of it. So that indicates the top portion of the lift. Top portion, deadlift needs adjustment. So I'll factor that into my training as well. So the next blog, we're going to get into more specifics on training, how the routine's going to look, what days, what poundages, the diet, how I'm going to set out my diet, because anybody who's tried knows that it's very difficult to maintain strength while you're dropping weight. So the last thing I want to do, I don't want to be losing a lot of weight the last 4 weeks before this competition starts. So a lot of that's going to have to be done ahead of schedule so that I can start getting into some more strength building later on in that cycle. So that's it for now, and watch out for the next one, and we'll get into specifics. And if you have any questions, you can email me, richard@athleticalliance.net, and I will answer the questions as best and as honestly as I can. Thanks.